Hello and welcome back to Intoxicus Flanging. My name's Graham, and as always, I hope you all remember to tell. Today we're going to be talking about Nintendo's taking a step back away from mobile games in general, and I think this is probably a good thing because they weren't doing too good at it, and I felt like they just missed a whole bunch of opportunities with mobile games and mobile apps, and um, yeah, they could have done better and they didn't, and it doesn't look like they're going to because they're missing all sorts of opportunities that are just like, huh? So let's flange on into it. Flange on into it. And we got an article from Bloomberg here. They're talking about it more from like a financial business perspective. So they do make some good points. I think it's kind of funny that their shares slid. If anything, it should have bounced up because people should be like, oh, they're recognizing they're not doing good and moving away from it. And so yeah. So there's some interesting points in here, but we're not going to go too much into that. They talk a lot about how much the mobile market's worth and all that, and if Nintendo can't tap into that, then not really much point. Something interesting to note is like Animal Crossing Pocket Camp was pretty much their only big one, and all the Pokemon stuff is technically Nintendo, but that's more the Pokemon company. That's kind of an interesting relationship there. So that's kind of, I'm not sure how much to count stuff like Pokemon Go. But yeah, I mean, with the whole Nintendo mobile app for the Switch and all that, like, they just did that very poorly overall in a bunch of ways. And overall, like the lack of a Nintendo 64 Mini and a GameCube Mini and stuff like that. Apparently, there's a patent, so it'd be like an attachment you could put your phone in. It would be like a Game Boy controller that would turn your phone into the Game Boy Mini. And where the fuck's that? Like, that'd be amazing. Where's being able to your library of emulated games from the Switch, being able to also play those on your phone? Like, all these things that would make money aren't happening, and it kind of ties into my ongoing thing about corporate disconnect and that kind of stuff, where it's like stuff where it seems obvious to people like us, and then it's like, how the fuck do they not get this? And it's just mind-boggling to me quite often when Nintendo can't figure out mobile games, and it's just the stuff they're doing is just like, what? This doesn't make sense. Like, it does. I don't get how they're deciding to make these games because they don't make sense to me. Like Pokemon Smile is not bad. Like that's more better for if you have kids and shit, but Pokemon Smile is a good counterexample because that's something that actually makes sense. It doesn't make sense for us adults unless maybe for autistic adults that have some sensory issues with brushing their teeth, that might be helpful. But generally, it's more for kids to get kids just into the habit of doing it. I wish I had that when I was a kid. That would have been cool. And yeah, just overall, like, even down to how Nintendo's handling the rebranded virtual console Flange, like, they're just doing it so silly and weirdly, and it doesn't make sense, and, they're just walking past money, in my opinion, and, to me, it's kind of good. If they can't figure the mobile shit out and they're going to be all disconnected like this, I'd rather them get connected and figure this all out and get better at it. But if we're at this point where it's all weird, they can't really figure it out, then fuck it. Stop try that sentence again. Stop dedicating resources to mobile if Nintendo can't figure it out, and have Nintendo dedicate resources to the games they're actually better at. At least that seems to make sense to me because yeah, I just don't see them doing that good at mobile apps if they can't even like get us Steams on the Switch and folders. There's just stuff that's not there that doesn't make sense. That's not necessarily that hard. Well, relatively not that hard compared to other things. But it shouldn't be that crazy of a feature to add in, you would think, but and if there are things getting in the way, communicate with us so at least we understand what's up. And yeah, it's a continual frustration with Nintendo with stuff like this. Um, and yeah, it was interesting because I remember back when they did release some of these mobile games, and it was just like, okay, what are you doing here, Nintendo? I'm not sure. When there's so many better ideas that would make more sense and generate more revenue, why are you doing like Super Mario Run and this Mario Kart thing that just, weren't big, didn't really make sense? Not even trying like some sort of Legend of Zelda mobile game, which could get a lot of interest if it was done well. Like people have suggested a Legend of Zelda dungeon builder kind of thing for mobile. That would be amazing. That'd be really cool. But yeah, so it just makes me wonder what's going on at Nintendo, what's going on with the management. There is, a new dude running it now, and and maybe that guy's not really doing so good. So I don't know, but yeah, it makes sense to me right now for them to do this, but really what would make even more sense is they actually figured out what we want and how to get it to us a bit better. Even just with the Nintendo Switch, because we're making our voices heard and they're not really responding at least too much. I mean, they did a bit with Animal Crossing. Hell, with Animal Crossing, with the whole like save game things and the island restrictions, and like some of it kind of makes sense, but when it comes to the premise of like some of the stuff's supposed to like prevent cheating, but then they allow time travel and you can manipulate the date to change the date in the game, and they still allow that, but they're all worried about save games not being backed up and shit for cheating. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, so often the past 2 years since the Nintendo Switch, Nintendo has done things where it's just like, it just doesn't make sense. Just on a fundamental level, it doesn't make sense. And, for people who are like executives running businesses that are making like huge decisions, they shouldn't be doing things where like widespread people at this level are like, what the fuck are you doing, Nintendo? This doesn't make sense. The fundamental things that make sense are right in front of you. What the fuck's going on here? Um so yeah, this is going to be a shorter daily flange today. I want to get better at keeping them short and concise. There's just not, that a whole lot to this. Yeah, that'll pretty much wrap it up. VR streaming is going to be on Tuesday and Thursday. Regular flat streaming on Wednesday and Friday. Going to be finishing Half-Life Alyx for VR. And for flat gaming, I'm not sure if I want to do Last of Us. I'm kind of undecided on what to do flat gaming wise. So that'll be a bit of a surprise on Friday, I suppose. And also, my copy of Last of Us is taking a long ass fucking time to get to me. So it might not arrive for a while, unfortunately, which is very frustrating, but yeah. Anyways, so that's pretty much wraps it up. I should flip over to the proper screen here. Flip over to the proper screen. This hotkey issue. One day I'll sort it out. Yeah, so yeah, fuck. I just had a total brain fart describing all that shit. But I do want to make sure to give a shout out and thanks to all the GoFundMe supporters and Patreon members so far. Thank you very much. And yeah, like especially VR wouldn't be possible without you guys, so just can't thank you guys enough. And on that, we'll wrap up the video for today, and see you tomorrow. Have a good one, and ciao.